The story continues as the wind howled outside. Joy sat on her bed, clutching a small wooden box her father had given her when she was a child. It was the only thing of his she had left, a relic of his once vibrant presence in their lives. She opened it carefully, revealing its contents: a faded photograph of her family, a key she had never found the lock for, and a folded piece of parchment. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the parchment. The writing was faded but legible, her father's bold handwriting staring back at her. It was a prayer, one that spoke of protection, loyalty, and justice. At the bottom were the words, "Joy, if ever I leave this world, let this guide you to the truth." Joy's pulse quickened. She had never thought much of the note before, but now, in light of the dream, it felt like a cryptic message. What truth was he referring to? And what was the key meant to unlock? Determined, Joy decided to start where she could. She needed someone who might understand the gravity of her dream. Her first thought was Chike, her friend and confidant, whose sharp wit and knack for solving problems had earned him respect in their village. The next morning, Joy found Chike by the river, hauling water into a large clay pot. His smile lit up when he saw her, but it quickly faded when he noticed her troubled expression. "Joy, you look like you've seen a ghost," Chike said, setting the pot down. "What's wrong?" Joy didn't waste time. She recounted her dream in detail, her voice low but urgent. As she spoke, Chike's brow furrowed, his expression growing more serious. "That's no ordinary dream," he said when she finished. "If your father came to you, there's a reason. And it's clear he's warning you about something serious." "But what can I do, Chike? My mother won't tell me anything, and I don't know what this key unlocks," Joy said, showing him the small metal key from her box. Chike examined the key, turning it over in his hands. "It looks old," he muttered. "Could be to a chest, or maybe a door. Did your father have a private space? Somewhere he kept things hidden?" Joy's eyes widened. "Yes. There's an old storage room in the back of the compound. It's been locked for years. My mother never goes there." "Then that's where we start," Chike said firmly. That evening, under the cover of darkness, Joy and Chike made their way to the storage room. The air was thick with tension, and every rustling leaf made Joy jump. When they reached the door, Joy's hands shook as she inserted the key into the rusted lock. With a loud click, the door creaked open, revealing a dusty room filled with cobwebs and old furniture. The smell of mildew was overpowering. Joy covered her nose as Chike lit a small oil lamp he had brought along. "Let's look for anything that might explain your father's message," Chike said, his voice low. They rummaged through the clutter, uncovering old books, broken tools, and faded documents. Finally, Joy's fingers brushed against something hard and metallic at the bottom of a wooden chest. She pulled it out, a small, intricately carved box with a golden latch. "This must be it," Joy whispered, her heart pounding. Inside the box was a stack of letters, all addressed to her mother in her father's handwriting. Joy and Chike exchanged a look before she carefully opened the first letter. As she read, her breath caught in her throat. The letters detailed her father's deep love for her mother, but they also revealed something shocking. Okafor, her mother's new lover, had once been her father's most trusted business partner. They had built a thriving trade together, but Okafor had betrayed him, stealing money and ruining their enterprise. The final letter was dated just days before her father's death. In it, he begged her mother to stay away from Okafor, warning that he was dangerous and manipulative. "Your father was right," Chike said grimly. "Okafor's not just cruel, he's a threat. And your mother, she's chosen to ignore everything your father tried to protect her from." Joy felt a surge of anger and determination. "I won't let Okafor destroy what's left of my father's legacy. I have to confront my mother again. She has to know I found the truth." Chike grabbed her arm gently. "Be careful, Joy. If Okafor is as dangerous as these letters suggest, he won't take kindly to you uncovering his secrets. You need a plan. Joy nodded, her mind racing. She knew she couldn't take on Okafor alone. But who could she trust to help her? And how would she protect her mother from the man who had already stolen so much? As she and Chike left the storage room, the letter stuck safely under her arm, Joy felt the weight of her father's words pressing on her more than ever. The truth was dangerous, but it was also her only weapon. And she was ready to use it. The morning after uncovering the letters, Joy woke with a new sense of purpose but also a deep unease. She knew her next steps would require courage and secrecy. Okafor, with his smug smile and overbearing presence, loomed large in her mind. The man had not only betrayed her father but now seemed to be tightening his grip on her mother. Joy couldn't shake the memory of how her mother had brushed off her concerns and refused to speak about the past. That day, Joy kept a close eye on Okafor. She watched from the shadows as he strutted around their compound, backing orders at workers who were repairing parts of the property. He had taken over her father's space as if he owned it, and her mother seemed to cater to his every whim. Later that evening, Joy approached Chike again. "We need to know more about Okafor," she whispered as they sat under the old mango tree near the edge of the village. "There has to be more to his story. Why is he here? Why does my mother let him stay?" Chike nodded. "I think I know someone who might help. My uncle is used to do business with your father and Okafor years ago. He knows a lot about what happened back then." The next day, Joy and Chike visited Is, who lived in a quiet part of the village. Is was a wiry man with sharp eyes and a cautious demeanor. When they explained why they had come, his face grew grim. "Your father was a good man, Joy," Is began, leaning back in his chair. "He trusted Okafor too much. They were partners for years, but Okafor always had a way of twisting things to his advantage. He manipulated deals, skimmed profits, and, in the end, left your father with nothing but debt. It broke him." Joy's hands clenched into fists. "But why would my mother allow him back into our lives after what he did?" He sighed heavily. "Your mother was desperate after your father's death. She struggled to keep the family afloat, and Okafor saw an opportunity. He came back pretending to help, but I think he had other motives. Perhaps he wanted to take control of the little your father had left. Your mother might have believed she had no choice." Chike leaned forward. "Did he ever threaten her?" Is hesitated, they nodded. There were whispers. People said Okafor had a dangerous side. Some even claimed he was responsible for your father's untimely death, though nothing was ever proven. Joy felt a chill run down her spine. "You're saying Okafor might have killed my father?" "I'm saying you need to be very careful," he said firmly. "If he senses you're onto him, he won't hesitate to silence you. He's done it before." That evening, Joy returned home, her mind reeling from Ise's revelations. She had always suspected Okafor of being cruel, but the idea that he might have been involved in her father's death filled her with both fear and rage. She decided to confront her mother again, this time with the letters as proof. She found Chika in the kitchen, cooking over a small fire. The flickering flames cast shadows across her face, making her look older and wearier than Joy had ever noticed before. "Mother," Joy said quietly, stepping into the room. Chika glanced up, her expression wary. "What is it now, Joy?" "I'm busy." Joy held up the stack of letters. "I found these in the storage room. Father wrote them before he died. He warned you about Okafor. He begged you to stay away from him. Why didn't you listen?" Chika froze, her stirring spoon hovering midair. Her face drained of color as her eyes locked onto the letters. "Where did you get those?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "It doesn't matter where I got them," Joy replied, her voice steady but filled with emotion. What matters is that you betrayed him. You brought the man who ruined his life into our home. Why, mother? Why would you do this? Chika's hands began to shake. She set the spoon down and sank onto a stool, burying her face in her hands. You don't understand, Joy, she whispered. I had no choice. Make me understand, Joy pressed, her heart pounding. Chika looked up, tears streaming down her face. After your father died, we were left with nothing. Okafor came back, and he offered to help. He said he'd clear our debts, protect the family. I thought I was doing what was best for you and your brothers. But I didn't know the full extent of what he had done to your father. And by the time I realized it, it was too late. Joy's voice broke. Too late for what? To stand up to him. To protect us from him. Chika shook her head. He threatened me, Joy. He said if I didn't cooperate, he'd take everything, including you. I was scared. I still am. As Joy listened, her anger began to shift into something more complex, a mixture of pity and determination. She knew her mother had made mistakes, but she also understood the fear that had driven her actions. Mother, she said softly, we can't let him control us anymore. We have to fight back. I found evidence, proof of what he did to father. If we take it to the elders, they'll have to intervene. Chika's eyes widened with fear. No, Joy. You don't understand how dangerous he is. If he finds out. He won't, Joy interrupted firmly. We'll be careful. But we can't stay silent any longer. Father deserves justice, and so do we. Chika hesitated, then finally nodded, her shoulders sagging in defeat. Do what you must, but promise me you'll be careful. The next morning, Joy and Chike began to gather more evidence, speaking to villagers who had known her father and Okafor during their partnership. They uncovered more stories of Okafor's deceit and intimidation. Slowly but surely, a picture of his crimes began to emerge. But as they walked, they could feel the noose tightening. Okafor was starting to notice their movements, his sharp eyes watching them wherever they went. One night, Joy returned home to find her room ransacked. The letters were gone. Her heart sank as she realized what this meant. Okafor was onto her, and he wasn't going to let her expose him without a fight. Joy stood in the doorway of her ransacked room, her heart pounding like a drum. The drawers of her small wooden dresser had been pulled out and emptied, her mattress upturned, and her belongings scattered across the floor. But the absence of the letters was the most devastating blow. She clenched her fist, anger bubbling up inside her. Okafor had made his move, and now it was clear, he wasn't just a manipulative liar, he was a dangerous man willing to do anything to protect his secrets. Joy stormed out of the room and found Chika in the kitchen, preparing the evening meal. Her mother looked up, startled by the fierce determination in Joy's eyes. He took them, Joy said through gritted teeth. Chika frowned. What are you talking about? The letters. Okafor must have found them. He ransacked my room. Joy's voice was shaking with both fear and fury. Chika's face paled. She set the knife she was holding on the counter and grabbed Joy's arm. You see, this is what I was afraid of. Joy, you've poked the bear. If he knows you're digging into the past, he won't stop at stealing some papers. He'll come for you next. Joy shook her head. He won't scare me into silence, Mother. Father trusted me to uncover the truth, and I won't stop until I've exposed him. Chika sighed, her shoulders slumping. I don't know what to do anymore, Joy. If you keep pushing him, he'll destroy us. Joy softened, placing a hand on her mother's. He's already destroying us, Mother. The only way to end this is to fight back. But I need your help. You have to tell me everything you know about him. No more secrets. Chika hesitated, her eyes darting toward the door as if she expected Okafor to burst in at any moment. Finally, she nodded. Fine. I'll tell you everything. But not here, it's not safe. Meet me by the river at dawn. That night, Joy barely slept. Her mind raced with possibilities, each one darker than the last. What else was her mother hiding? Could they really outmaneuver Okafor, a man who seemed to have control over everyone and everything? When the first light of dawn broke, Joy slipped out of the house and made her way to the river. The air was cool, and the sound of the flowing water was coming, but Joy couldn't shake the tension in her chest. Chika was already there, sitting on a large rock with her arms wrapped around herself. She looked up as Joy approached, her face etched with worry. "Thank you for coming," Chika said softly. Joy sat beside her. "I need to know the truth, Mother. All of it." Chika took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she spoke. "Your father and Okafor started as close friends. They built their business together, and for a time, everything was good. But as the business grew, so did Okafor's greed. He started taking more than his share, forging documents, and making deals behind your father's back. When your father confronted him, Okafor threatened to ruin him, and he did." Tears filled Chika's eyes as she continued. "After your father died, Okafor came back. He said he wanted to make amends, but it was a lie. He wanted control over the land, the house, everything. He said if I didn't marry him, he'd take it all. I didn't know what else to do." Joy stared at her mother, her heart breaking. "You married him to protect us?" Chika shook her head. "No. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But I let him stay here, hoping it would appease him. And now, I see how foolish I was. He's taken everything anyway." Joy knew what she had to do. Okafor's influence had to be dismantled piece by piece. The first step was regaining the letters, which she suspected Okafor hadn't destroyed. He was too arrogant to believe they could truly incriminate him. He would likely keep them as leverage. She shared her plan with Chike later that day. "We need to find where he's keeping the letters," she said. "If we can get them back and take them to the village elders, they'll have no choice but to act." Chike nodded. "It won't be easy. Okafor keeps a close eye on everything. But I think I know someone who might help." Chike led Joy to the outskirts of the village, where an elderly woman named Mama Ifeoma lived. Mama Ifeoma had once been a respected spiritual guide in the community and was known for her wisdom and insight. When they explained the situation, Mama Ifeoma listened intently, her piercing eyes seeming to see straight into their souls. "Okafor is a man blinded by greed," she said. "He thinks he's untouchable, but even the strongest fortress has a weak spot. If you want to uncover his secrets, you'll need more than courage, you'll need cunning." Mama Ifeoma suggested a strategy: lure Okafor away from the house with a fabricated emergency and use the time to search his quarters. "But be warned," she said. "If he catches you, there will be no mercy." The next day, Chike staged the distraction, claiming one of Okafor's prized cattle had gone missing in the nearby forest. Okafor, enraged, took a group of men to search for it, leaving the house unattended. Joy and Chika seized the opportunity. They hurried to Okafor's room, their hearts pounding as they rifled through drawers, cabinets, and a heavy trunk at the foot of his bed. Finally, beneath a false bottom in the trunk, Joy found the letters, along with other documents, land deeds, forged contracts, and records of bribes paid to local officials. "This is it," Joy whispered, her hands shaking as she held the papers. "This is everything we need to bring him down." But just as they were about to leave, they heard footsteps approaching. Okafor was back. "Quick!" Chika whispered, pulling Joy toward a small closet. They slipped inside, barely breathing as the door creaked open and Okafor's heavy boots stuttered against the floor. You think you can outsmart me, little girl, his voice growled, sending a chill down Joy's spine. Okafor knew. The game was no longer one of secrets and shadows, it was a battle for survival. As Okafor paced the room, Joy's heart pounded so loudly she was certain he could hear it. She clutched the letters and documents tightly, knowing they were her only weapon against him. Beside her, Chika trembled, her hand gripping Joy's arm for comfort. You thought I wouldn't notice? Okafor muttered, his voice low and menacing. He moved to the trunk, throwing open the lid. Where are they? Where are the papers? Joy held her breath as Okafor began tossing things aside, his frustration growing with each passing second. His movements became erratic, and he slammed the trunk shut with a loud bang, cursing under his breath. I know you're here, Joy, he growled, his voice sending a chill through the air. You're just like your father, too stubborn for your own good. But look where it got him. Joy bit her lip to keep from crying out. Her fingers tightened around the documents. If Okafor caught them now, it would all be over. Suddenly, a commotion erupted outside. Voices called out, and there was a loud crash. Okafor straightened, his face darkening as he turned toward the door. What now? He barked, storming out of the room. Joy and Chika waited until the sound of his footsteps faded. Then, slowly, they emerged from the closet, both of them gasping for air as if they'd been underwater. What just happened? Chika whispered. I don't know, but we need to move now, Joy said, her voice firm despite the fear coursing through her veins. They slipped out of the house, staying low and avoiding the windows. As they reached the edge of the compound, they saw Chike standing with several villagers near the cattle pen. It seemed he had staged another distraction to buy them more time. Over here. Chike hissed, waving them over. Joy and Chika hurried to him, and together they made their way to Mama Ifeoma's hut. Once inside, Joy spread the documents across the small wooden table. This is everything, she said breathlessly. The letters, the forged deeds, the proof of his bribes. It's all here. Mama Ifeoma studied the papers, her expression grave. This is enough to bring him down, but it won't be easy. Okafor has many allies in the village, people he's paid off or intimidated into silence. You'll need to rally support from those who aren't afraid of him. Chike nodded. We can start with the elders. If we present this to them, they'll have to act. Mama Ifeoma frowned. Perhaps, but you must be cautious. Okafor won't go down without a fight. He'll try to discredit you, maybe even harm you. Joy squared her shoulders. I'm not afraid of him. My father deserves justice, and so does my family. The following day, Joy, Chike, and Chika met with the village elders in the square. The elders, a group of 5 wise and respected men and women, listened intently as Joy presented her case. These documents prove that Okafor not only betrayed my father but also stole from this community, Joy said, her voice steady and resolute. He's used threats and bribes to silence anyone who stands in his way. But it's time for that to end. The head elder, a stern-looking man named Noji, examined the papers carefully. He looked up at Joy, his expression unreadable. These are serious accusations, child. If what you say is true, Okafor has violated not only the law but also the trust of this village. We will summon him to answer for these crimes. Joy nodded, but her stomach churned. She knew confronting Okafor directly would be dangerous, but it was a risk she was willing to take. Later that afternoon, the village square was packed with people. Word of the accusations against Okafor had spread, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Okafor stood in the center of the crowd, his face a mask of arrogance. This is ridiculous, he said, his voice dripping with disdain. These are baseless claims from a girl who doesn't know her place. Joy stepped forward, her chin held high. They are not baseless, Okafor. The documents don't lie. You stole from my father, you threatened my mother, and you've used fear to control this village for too long. The crowd murmured, and a few people nodded in agreement. Okafor sneered. And where is your proof, little girl? Noji held up the letters and deeds. Right here. These documents paint a clear picture of your wrongdoing, Okafor. Do you deny their authenticity? Okafor's confidence faltered for a moment, but he quickly recovered. This is a setup. Anyone could have forged those papers. This girl is desperate to tarnish my name because she blames me for her father's death. It's a personal vendetta. Joy stepped closer, her voice rising. A vendetta? You think this is about me? This is about justice, for my father, for my family, and for everyone you've hurt. You can lie all you want, but the truth is out now. The village knows who you really are. The tension in the square was palpable. Okafor's allies shifted uncomfortably, while others in the crowd began to voice their support for Joy. You can't silence all of us, Okafor, an elderly man called out. Your time is up. Okafor's face twisted with rage. He lunged toward Joy, but before he could reach her, Chike and several other young men stepped in, blocking his path. That's enough, Noji said, his voice booming. Okafor, you will be taken into custody while we conduct a full investigation. If the evidence against you holds, you will face the consequences of your actions. For the first time, fear flickered in Okafor's eyes. He tried to protest, but the villagers closed in, their unity overwhelming his bravado. As the crowd escorted Okafor away, Joy felt a wave of relief wash over her. But she knew this was only the beginning. The road to rebuilding her family's legacy and her father's honor would be long, but she was ready to face it. Chika placed a hand on her shoulder. Your father would be proud of you, she said softly. Joy smiled, her heart swelling with determination. This is for him and for us. We are free now, Mother. It's time to start again. The weeks that followed Okafor's downfall were a whirlwind of change for Joy and her family. The village elders, after verifying the evidence, declared Okafor guilty of fraud, theft, and intimidation. His ill-gotten gains, including the land deeds and property he had stolen, were returned to their rightful owners. The community, once paralyzed by his influence, stood united against corruption, emboldened by Joy's bravery. For Joy, the journey wasn't just about exposing Okafor, it was about reclaiming her father's legacy and healing the wounds his betrayal had left behind. With the support of Chike, Mama Ifioma, and the villagers, she worked tirelessly to rebuild the family farm. The once neglected land now brimmed with life, a symbol of resilience and hope. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Joy sat by the river where she and her mother had shared their pivotal conversation. She ran her fingers over a smooth stone, her thoughts drifting to her father. Father, she whispered, gazing at the water that shimmered in the fading light, I hope you can rest now. I've done my best to honor you. Chika approached quietly, her footsteps soft on the grass. She sat beside Joy, placing a hand on her daughter's shoulder. You've done more than honor him, Joy. You've brought justice to his memory and strength to our family. I'm proud of you. Joy turned to her mother, seeing in her eyes the same determination she now felt within herself. We've both been through so much, but we made it, Mother. Together. Chika smiled, her face softened by gratitude and love. Your father would be at peace knowing how strong you've become. You are his legacy. As the months passed, Joy became a beacon of inspiration in the village. People came to her for advice, and she began organizing community gatherings to address issues that had long been ignored. She and Chike grew closer, their bond forged through shared struggle and a mutual dream of a better future. One evening, as the village celebrated a successful harvest, Joy stood at the center of the square, surrounded by laughter and music. Chike approached her, a small carved pendant in his hand. "For you," he said, slipping it into her palm. "A reminder of everything you've achieved and how far you'll go." Joy looked at the pendant, a small carving of a tree, its roots deep and its branches reaching upward. She smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Chike, for everything." As the celebration continued around them, Joy felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't known in years. She had faced the darkness of betrayal, confronted her fears, and emerged stronger. Her father's voice no longer haunted her dreams, replaced instead by a quiet sense of pride. She turned to Chike and said, "This is just the beginning. There's so much more we can do for our family, for the village, and for the future." And as the stars lit up the night sky, Joy knew with certainty that she was no longer a victim of the past but a creator of a new legacy, one of justice, resilience, and hope.